Over 300 pages of esoteric doctrine exposed. Ancient wisdom from the mystery schools. Embedded into your favorite music, films, and TV shows. Symbolism hidden in plain sight. Get your copy of The Dark Path on Amazon. The narrated audiobook is now available on Audible. Click the link in the description below. All right.
You're listening to the intro to the intro. That means we've got a very special episode today. That's right. We are joined by a very special guest, the first guest of 2023. He's made just a ton of excellent viral videos. I'm sure you've seen some of them if you've been in the truther circuits at all. And today we're going to discuss the rise of the Doenut factory. That's right. We're going to talk about YouTube and his experiences with, of course, censorship. Why not, right? We're going to talk about his background of video editing, and he's been connected with some very famous underground hip-hop artists. I couldn't believe it. And then around the 25-minute mark, after we catch up with who he is and what he's been up to, we'll start getting into some of his findings as a researcher. We're going to talk about celebrity gods, Drake and Elon, how they connect to Saturn and Zeus, and the oak tree. Yeah, that's right. An interesting take on owl symbolism, secret societies. We're going to get a full decoding of The Office. That's right. Our favorite show from Scranton, PA. We're going to talk about The Office's alchemy, autophobia, the Idaho killer, Michael Scott the magician, Rainn Wilson, Pete Davidson, SIrius, so much your head's going to spin. And then we'll also hit Netflix Addams Family, Symbolism, Squid Games. I mean, it's unbelievable. You're going to love this episode. I enjoyed it. We were only supposed to go an hour, and I stretched the dude out to an hour and a half because he's just fascinating. And you got to check out all of his stuff. You got to follow Doenut everywhere. He's uploaded and then removed videos, so you got to see them when they drop, because sometimes they don't stick around because he's got this censorship thing he's dealing with. I'll put all the links in the show notes, of course. It's going to be Doenut, Doenut, and different variations of that all over the place. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, his website, Patreon. And again, I'll put all of those links in the show notes, or you can go to IlluminatiWatcher.com and find it. So without further ado, let's get into the show. What's up, everybody? You're listening to Occult, Symbolism, and Pop Culture. I'm your host, Isaac Weishaupt. Today, we're joined by a very special guest. And you know, we don't always have guests on this show. I only pick the best. And what makes this extra special, this is 2023. And this is the first guest. I plan on having several guests this year. And I'm really excited to introduce this guy. If you don't know who he is, which you probably do, I call him the king of conspiracy content, because my man cranks out these videos and I love them, you know, because my brain is sort of been TikToked, and now I don't like long form content, and this guy's the king. You probably know who he is. He needs no further introduction. Welcome to Occult, Symbolism, and Pop Culture, my man, Doenut.
Yo, what up? It's Doenut. Thank you so much, Isaac. I've been tuning into you for a long time, probably much longer than I even knew, when you were Illuminati Watcher, right?
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you definitely go back. If you that was what I went by for a while, was just Illuminati Watcher, which people kind of gave me grief, like, oh, you sound like a superhero. And I'm like, well, all right.
Right. So I've been watching you before I knew I was watching you. So just thank you for all your research, your work. Your books are fantastic, especially the Star Wars book. I did a presentation and I read that book that you made, and I learned about Michael Aquino. Just learned so much from you. So thank you so much.
Yeah. No, well, thank you. Yeah. It's my pleasure to have you on the show. I like your angle. Obviously, I feel like you and I make a good sort of pairing, because, you know, when you get into this realm of conspiracy, there's all these different genres and subgenres when you really start getting into this stuff. And for me, it's sort of niched out into this obsession of occult symbolism, where it overlaps with pop culture, and that's kind of precisely where your content lies.
Right.
And we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about several of your videos and your ideas and what got you on this path. But there's there's something I want to try with you. Okay, this is a new thing, right? So for the new year, I'm trying to devote myself to bringing in one guest a month. That's my rough plan. And I've got, you know how like sometimes on these shows they'll have this sort of fun little 60-second segment type thing, a little rapid fire. I've got 5 rapid fire questions. You don't need to elaborate. You don't need to explain. But I thought this would be a pretty fun way we could break the ice. Okay, you ready for this?
Let's do it.
All right. Number 1, do you like Tom Hanks?
Oh, hell, no. Great actor. That guy's totally control. Like that answer is so that's a topic that could go on for hours and hours and hours. He opened up the inauguration. You know what I mean? He's an actor. It gets deep. Great actor, right? That's what he is. He's an actor. But this is a very political response here, Doenut.
I
know what you're saying. I don't trust him.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, what was your red pill moment?
Ooh, that's a great question. Probably Brave New World in elementary school.
Okay.
That.
Okay. What is one conspiracy you 100% believe in?
That everything's gonna be okay.
I love it. What's one conspiracy you do not believe in?
I don't I don't believe that it's just one institution controlling the world. I believe it's not that.
Okay.
Usually people point fingers to one group, but I don't believe that.
That's smart. I actually agree with you on that. Okay, last one. How do you unplug and keep yourself from going black pill?
A black pill meaning
like sometimes when people get into this realm of conspiracy, and that's why this is one of my questions I want to ask all the guests, because a lot of times, and even in my personal life, I know people who they get into conspiracy, they go down the rabbit hole, they're convinced people are eating kids and they're losing their mind, and they now have become a worse person. Like they're terrible to be around. Everything's the worst thing ever. They can't watch movies or TV anymore. Full black pill. Is there anything? And a lot of people say, Isaac, I don't know how you can talk about all these things and research all these things and still enjoy Hollywood movies and TV and stuff. And I say, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. But
it's surrendering completely to God.
Very good. Okay, I like it. Excellent. All right, that was the first run of it. So you did great, man. Good job. All right.
I think I did terrible.
No,
I should have been more concise with just like yes, Tom Hanks. No, you know what I mean.
No, this is great, man. We're doing good here. All right, so now I do want to introduce. Let's go a little deeper on Doenut, right? I want to know your journey because, and this could go in a variety of directions, but I would like to know. You said that reading Brave New World perhaps was your first sort of red pill. Was that an assigned reading in school?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I grew up. My next door neighbors, they were Greek, so they were very educated. The Greeks are very smart.
Yeah, my wife's Greek. Yeah, I'm Greek Orthodox. So.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah, so, I'm not Greek. My wife is Greek Orthodox, so I hung out with a lot of Greeks. I know how to make lukamadas and all the works.
Yes. And so his family, very educated, reading books all the time. They recommended to read Brave New World when I was in elementary school. And I was in the punk scene, which was sort of like a counterculture, which now I'm realizing, wow, that could have been totally controlled opposition with that, learning about the unpopular culture. And I think it's the music played a big part in that as well. But the things that were waking me up, now I'm researching that, oh, wow, that was controlled, like Frank Zappa or stuff like that.
You listen to Frank Zappa?
As a kid.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah, that's that Frank Zappa was part of the Manson family lore back in I think it was like Laurel Canyon, right? I think he
Hmm.
was one of the people there at several of these satanic parties that Charles Manson said they used to attend all these witches sabbats and satanic parties, and he said that some kind of satanic spirit influenced his family, quote unquote, at the
Hmm.
Spiral Staircase house.
Right. And also, like, Dead Kennedys played a big role as well in awakening and the whole punk movement, in a sense, and loving underground hip hop too. That's a hip hop thing. Illuminati, they talk about that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. So you might be similar to age as me because uh when I say punk music, to me that's like I don't know, the Ramones, Fugazi, Minor Threat, bands
Mhm.
like that. And Dead Kennedys is kind of even older than that, right?
Right. It's around the same time frame. The oldest one I think would be the Misfits, in a sense, because they were
Hmm.
talking about Hollywood Babylon, JFK, and all that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, you're right. You talking about Black Flag after they were black after they turned it.
Oh, so Black Flag as well is another one, like
Yeah.
Henry Rollins and all that.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so Henry Rollins was Black Flag, and then the Misfits was Glenn
Misfit.
Danzig.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Okay, okay. Yeah, I dabbled with punk rock back in the day a little bit, but I'm more of a hip hop guy myself. Uh, and okay, so you have these sort of influences, right? And as far as a profession goes,
Mm.
let's go into your dreaded day your dreaded day job.
Right.
What's your background that your Thomas Anderson non neo side? What does that look like for you?
So I've been doing video production my whole life. Um, just video editing, video production, doing hip hop videos. Doenut, that whole brand was started sort of like a music video company trying to make music videos. And that's what I did.
Any big name videos people would recognize?
Yeah, I did a lot of lyric videos for Necro. That was like one of the biggest things for me. That was huge. I worked with Twisted, all the underground hip hop crews. I messed with a lot. Mad Child. Mm.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah, these are big. Yeah, I listen to I used to, right? Swollen Members and Necro. I like all them like nonfiction, those kinds of guys is
Yeah, nonfiction. Maybe that was a big red pill.
yeah. Nonfiction, they're only two couple of albums. They talk a lot about conspiracies and the Illuminati and stuff.
Hmm.
And then that first Jedi Mind Tricks album, I don't know if you ever heard that one.
Oh yeah, I got my Jedi Mind Tricks hat right
Oh,
there.
dang,
Yeah.
bro. Okay. All right. All right. What part of the country did you grow up in there?
And I grew up in Vegas, Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. Because
So
that's like some real East Coast stuff we're talking here. Nonfiction, Jedi Mind Tricks, that kind of stuff.
yes, it is. And yeah, I just grew up in Las Vegas, and I live in Arizona now. I know Bill Cooper, right? Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
up the road. I know that was a big influence for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, yeah.
So
So you live, I'm not sure where Bill Cooper lived. Arizona's a pretty big state. So you live kind of close enough. You ever been down his road where his house is or was or whatever?
yeah, he lived in, I believe, Sholo, Arizona,
Oh,
which
okay.
is still like a cool place to live.
Oh, okay.
I've never been there. It's like a small town.
All
I'm
right.
in Scottsdale, in the bougie, like Beverly
Oh,
Hills,
okay.
Scottsdale. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Scottsdale. Yeah, I was there last year. Spent a little too much money at the strip club. So, okay. Yeah. And the reason I wanted to talk to you about that is because the artwork that you have, do you do all that artwork on your video thumbnails and stuff like that and your logo?
No, that's my good friend from Horrible Home Video, and a fantastic artist. And I've implemented him throughout my entire career. He's done all of my branding of my artwork, and he's my favorite artist. So,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
but I do all my video editing. So the graphics are important. This is what I learned from music videos. I was mentored by a guy who produced Tupac's like early albums, Eazy-E albums and stuff like that. And he was teaching me about branding. And that's why I changed my name. I used to go by just my name, and then I went to Doenut after that. So yeah.
Oh, interesting. So you have, who's like the most famous person you've ever met? It sounds like you're rubbing shoulders with some pretty famous people here.
You know, it's not really famous like people. It's usually the behind the scenes people.
Oh, okay.
It's the production side of things.
Okay, man, that's really cool, dude. I dig this. Yeah, because your videos on your YouTube, you know, people can check them out. It's Doenut, Doenut. Pull it up while we're talking here, and subscribe on your YouTube, man. And I follow you on like Instagram. I'm not sure if you put the videos on Twitter also, but I follow you on all the places, right?
It's hard to put them everywhere. You know, you got to hire someone to do that.
Dude, it's such a pain.
It is. It takes so much out of upload, export. Ugh.
It's a drag. It's for sure a drag. So I get it. But your videos, man, they immediately grab your attention. They pull you in. Great video graphics. So I know that you know what you're doing, right? This is good stuff. Now, is YouTube videos, and obviously you share those videos on other social medias and whatnot. Is that your major? Because, you know, like for me, my major form of content creation would be podcasting, but I also write books and I try to make little videos that aren't as good as yours, but I do little stuff here and there. Is YouTube videos kind of your number one, you know, form of content creation?
Yes, I love making videos. I love stories. I love editing, making dope edits with music videos. So that's like my main thing. I believe all my skills come from the video editing and speaking that way. Like a podcast, I'm not very talented at speaking. It's hard, but when I edit a video, I can get my thoughts together in the video.
All right, I got you.
So yes, absolutely.
And how long have you been making these little conspiracy videos? When I go on your YouTube, it looks like maybe 2 years or so. Is that about right?
Yeah. So the world changed, right? The lockdowns happened, and I started putting videos out because I was seeing some things that I thought was interesting. So I was like, I'm just going to put this out there. And then it started picking up traction. I've been making videos my whole life. Nothing ever picked up traction. But I've also been very, very heavily invested in listening to you, listening to other great researchers like Jordan Maxwell and whatnot my entire life. I'm editing videos and listening to, you know, podcasts and researching. That was a passion. And then it just took off and I just dived all into Doenut.
Yeah, I wondered about it because on your channel, you've got, looks like you interviewed Jordan Maxwell a couple times, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I got to speak to him 4 times in my life. So I'm grateful for every single one of those. But yes, I did 2 interviews with him.
That's dope, man. Yeah, because one of my regrets was, you know, I've got a lot of regrets on guests I wanted to have on my show, and I just, you know, I don't know what it is, man. Booking guests, because I'm like a one-man operation over here. A lot of people have bookers and stuff like that. It's kind of a pain. It's hard to do the back and forth and make a schedule, and then sometimes the guests have to reschedule. And I found out, and for me, I used to try to do it more, but then given my dreaded day job, there was some scheduling problems and it just became too much of a hassle. So I just bailed on it completely and said, you know what, I'm just going to say what I want to say. And like I said, this year, I'm going to try to focus more on trying to get guests on here. And I wanted to get Tracy Twyman on. We actually exchanged a couple emails, but then she passed away. Jordan Maxwell is one of these legends, right? And I never had him on the show, and I probably could have if I would have tried a little harder. And, you know, he's one of these super golden age triple OG conspiracy guys that were in it back before there was, you know, it's hard to tell because right now with YouTube and podcasting, everything is monetizable now. And guys,
I'm not though. I'm so not monetized.
No.
You with YouTube, absolutely not.
Yeah, YouTube's tricky, and actually, I do want to talk to you about YouTube. Looks like on you've got a regular channel and then you got a backup channel, and your regular channel looks like you're at 99,000 subs.
Yeah, so I tried to delete some content to get it monetized. So I was going to the backup. The backup channel is unmonetizable, and so is this channel.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
What happens when because my people know my sad history. I was up to about 76,000 subs in I don't remember 2016 or 17. They banned me, and it crushed me, man. I was like, damn. I mean, I had made like 100 videos at that point, and the work involved in it. It's just time consuming, and mine weren't even that good, and it's frustrating because you'll go through this whole work of making a video and you'll upload it, and then they'll say, oh, you got a copyright violation or some random thing. Mm-hmm. And then someone else is monetizing your video. I mean, it's just craziness. Like, YouTube,
dude, it's nuts. You know what it is? It's really ridiculous. It's on so many different levels of the making us censor ourselves, self-censorship, so the freedom of expression, political correctness, and all of this. I'm considered harmful content. I don't cuss. I'm pretty legit. Like, I don't understand why that is, but if you're political, you're going to be monetized. So that's what I've realized, is that if you pick a side on the false right-left paradigm, you're going to get monetized. You're going to get money. But if you are a centrist in the middle, talking crap about both, everyone's going to hate you and you won't be monetized.
Interesting, man. You're a smart dude, man. Yeah, that's your videos. It's actually surprising me that they don't let you monetize, because your videos, when I watch them, I see a lot of sort of, not, it's going to sound douchey, but I see a lot of myself and my thoughts in your videos. And I think, okay, this guy's on the same wavelength I am.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of how I crafted my videos, very sort of neutral. There's no hate speech. There's no, hey, everybody get mad and burn down the local, lodge or whatever. Like, there's none of that. Like, I'm just, here's some information. Check it out. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
So that's amazing that they've already got to you like that.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a bummer. Yeah. I was going to start working on my YouTube channel and try to build it back up.
That's the thing, is I had a big channel on Facebook with 500,000 subscribers. I'd post a big video, it'd get 1 million views every time I posted it. They took that down after I posted 4 videos that all got 1 million, and I was very upset. And this was the time during the elections, and with Biden, I like to call him Biden because a Biden is what Pluto held, not a trident, but a Biden. There's a big connection there. But I was upset at first. They took down my channel. I worked so hard. I read the CIA files on how they astro travel and all this. And then I just realized, hey, I'm connected to the biggest social media platform in the world, and that's God or higher power or whatever religion people are. I'm connected to the universe. So why would I even trip about a little platform?
That's interesting. I think there's something going on with, Alex Jones talks about the info war, right? And the battle is for your mind. And I do think that, and I haven't been able to articulate this yet, but there's something, and I'm not some kind of, communist, anti-American guy. Like, I love our country. It's great. It's been great to me, whatever, right? Fill in all the stuff. Give me the flag and the bald eagle. Anyway,
rock, flag, and eagle.
there's some kind of layover between corporate America, or corporations in general, right? Incorporate a soul, I guess, right? You could play on that, but corporations are very much trying to manage the consciousness of the masses in a way. They're trying to sort of keep us, and I don't get too woo-woo-y stuff, but like sometimes people talk about this ascension to the 5D talk like that, 4D, 5D ascension. And I do think there's something to that. I don't know how to articulate it, but there is something trying to keep us at a sort of basic level of dividedness. And I agree with you, man. That is an interesting point that, yeah, if I decided to make a debate channel or a politics channel, or maybe a debating politics channel, I'm
you're
sure.
Gonna be fine. You're going to be invited to Turning Point. I was kicked out of Turning Point, for example, because I was filming a friend of mine there, and they kicked me out for being a security threat.
What's Turning Point?
It's just a political thing. It's like a Republican thing. And yeah, they probably saw me. I had the man bun at a time, and they probably like, oh, look at this crazy leftist. He's trying to do something wild, or I don't know. They never told me why.
That's interesting.
And I went with Alex Stein to film him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw that. Do you work with Alex Stein much? I saw him. You have a video of him on your channel.
Oh, we're just friends.
Oh, okay. He blew up, right? I mean, he's huge now. He's been on Fox News a couple times and stuff.
Yeah, he's Tucker Carlson's son.
he does have Tucker Carlson vibes, pretty good.
But that's the thing that's good about connecting with people. He brought me onto his conspiracy castle before he took off. So he came to town, and I filmed his comedy event and interviewed him.
Oh, does he do comedy like professionally, kind of? On the road?
Yeah, he's very talented at the comedy. He's like a new Bill Hicks in a sense, like that same genre of Andy Kaufman mixed with Bill Hicks.
Okay, I got you. All right. Well, now let's get back to you, man. We're not here to talk about Alex Stein. Come on, man. What are we doing here? No, I'm just kidding. I was supposed to get on the Conspiracy Castle a few months ago, and we had a scheduling conflict. Anyway, now on your YouTube, right, you had this Sabotage remake, and this was, and it's the Beastie Boys Sabotage remake, and at the beginning, I swear that I hear it says Jamie Matrox is doing the intro, and I was gonna ask you about it, but it sounds like that's one of your normal things, talking to some of these sort of underground rappers. Is that Jamie Matrox from the Insane Clown Posse thing?
Yep. Yeah. So it's Jamie. That was Jamie Madrox from Twisted. He was hosting my friend's mixtape, Underground Hustlin'. And I used to just do all this underground hip hop music videos and stuff. And my friend, who I used to film when I was like 12 years old, and he was like 21, and I'd go to the concerts in Vegas, opening up for Tech Nine. And there must have been at least 40 people in the crowd. And now he makes more money than Lil Wayne does, I think, on tour or something like that, at least a few years ago. And so I was just in the underground world, and that was Jamie Madrox.
Yeah. Have you ever seen, speaking of, it sounds like you've been, behind the scenes of a lot of this more connected people, right? Have you ever seen anything that makes you believe in this idea of the Faustian bargain or any kind of weird occult blood sacrifice type stuff? You ever seen anything like that?
Sure have.
Oh, so really? Okay.
I moved to California, and I wanted to pursue my video career. And I was living in Santa Clarita. This is where Magic Mountain is. This is where Edward Scissorhands is based off of. I might not say that on public record, but Tim Burton went to Cal Arts, and that's where I lived, right by there. And it's the most cookie cutter neighborhood. There's a show called Santa Clarita Diet about pretty much zombies. That show's pretty legit. The show Weeds, for example, was filmed in Santa Clarita. It's just this cookie cutter town. Now, right down the street from my house is I've been really diving into Tessarian, Jordan Maxwell, David Icke, because this was 2012. This was in 2012. And Paul Walker died seriously right in front of Magic Mountain. Magic Mountain was like right by the same street that I was living on. So I remembered when this happened. And I was like, that's weird. This is back when I was drinking, and I would go to the bar. I went to the bar to drink and maybe try to talk to some girls. And there was people partying at this bar. And I was like, what's going on? Why is everyone partying? And this girl's like, yo, there's a bunch of people like Freemasons here and secret society stuff here. And I was like, oh, dude, that's weird because I've been listening to all these like 2012, bro. Like I'm listening to Illuminati Watcher. And I was like, oh, weird. And then she said something interesting. She said, yeah, I'm like, why are they celebrating? She's like, they're celebrating because they got the security footage of the crash and they sold it for like millions of dollars. And I was like, that. And so that happened. So that was a real life thing that happened that never really left my mind.
That's interesting. Do you know, okay, so we're talking about the Paul Walker from Fast and Furious who died in a car crash of all things, right? And you know, what's interesting is that was back in sort of the golden age of me blogging, and Paul Walker, when he died, I put together a little, and my old blog was, you know, not that great, but it was, a lot of people weren't talking about this stuff. So I got a lot of hits, and that Paul Walker conspiracy article was one of my biggest, I probably top 3 articles of all time back before I got shadow banned and sued and all that. But I thought there was a photo of Paul Walker walking to the car or something. So you're telling me that there was a video and somebody sold it?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if that's regarded as some kind of, you know, snuff film type of thing, like 8mm type stuff. I wonder if that's, I mean, because if you think about it, right, these celebrities, and this is, you know, a concept that's probably not foreign to you, but the listener, maybe, celebrities are viewed upon as the new gods, like this Roman pantheon of gods. These are the new gods, in every sense, in every way. That's how they feel. That's how they're treated and everything. And to see or witness the death of a god, I mean, there must be some kind of value for these weirdos that are into all this occult stuff, and you know, they call them like the death cult, you know, skull and bones and stuff. It's always about death. So that is interesting. That now, did you think that they were being sensational, or did you take it as, oh, literally someone in here is getting paid because they've got video and they sold it?
I just was like, oh, that's like they sold it to the news station, right? And to make money. That's what I thought in my head. That was just, I didn't think much of it. It's just that I hear these things and they stick with me later. That's how I know something's important, I feel, is somebody says something, but then I remember it 20 years later and I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how symbology is, and waking up to whatever's going on, because there's a story being played out right now. And I remember listening to Jordan Maxwell say the Superman guy is like crippled, right? He was Superman, but now he's paraplegic. And then you got Paul Walker, who's driving fast cars and he dies in a car crash. So you got all these weird connections like that in storylines, and just researching everybody. And when events happen, you get all this information from everybody. And it seems like there's something going on. And people have been talking about this forever, like celebrity sacrifices. And I liked what you just said about the celebrities as gods, because I really do think that they're portraying characters. Drake would be Saturn because he's the 6th god, right? And Saturn is the 6th planet. And then he names his son Adonis, right? Adonis is like connected with the gods as well. And then Zeus would be Elon, because Zeus was known as an oak tree. Even the druid, Hollywood druid, it means oak in a sense. The oak tree is very important to, like going back to the gods and stuff. And Elon actually means oak tree, like that word. Elon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I believe he's playing Zeus, the god of the sky, and he's known to do the Starlinks. And this, so I've been connecting these gods that they are playing. It's a big rabbit hole, that topic, but I think there's something up to it.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah, that's that Drake as Saturn, you know, and Saturn, of course, being you know, Kronos or this devourer of children. And Drake's got all of these allegations against him of DMing underage girls, allegations of boasting about getting Triple X Tentacion murdered, Like there's a lot of dark stuff behind Drake, and a lot of people, say what you want about Drake, but like I always say, I think he's kind of like the king of pop, like more so than Michael Jackson ever could dream of, to be honest. A lot of people don't like that statement that I make, but it's true, man. This guy's been, everything he touches turns to platinum for 10 years now. I mean, it's crazy.
And he has a song November 18th, the day that the Illuminati founder died.
Oh, fascinating. Really? Yeah, and he's a massive rabbit hole with all of his owl symbolism, that October Very Own label, and Bohemian Grove, and all that stuff. And it's a big topic there. That is fascinating, though. I'm definitely putting that in the back pocket.
Yeah, it's freaking weird, man. Like these celebrities portraying the gods, but him having the owl, that Justin Bieber also has the owl tattoo. That's like the identical one. It's wild.
Have you ever watched Twin Peaks?
I should. I've seen a little bit. I watch it, and I'm ADD as well. So it's kind of like sometimes those shows are kind of slow.
Yeah. So Twin Peaks, again, if you would have asked me 3 months ago, I would have said the same thing. I said, yeah, I know I should watch this. Everyone says I need to. I probably tried to watch Twin Peaks at least 5 times, and I couldn't get through the first episode. I was like, this is so boring. And I finally, about a month ago, said, screw it, dude. I'm doing it. I'm going for it. I made it to the first episode. I got to the 3rd or 4th episode, and I tweeted, I said, really? Do I need to suffer through this? Honestly, tell me if this gets any better. And a few people I sort of respect said, dude, you really got to, you'll get there. And by I think it was the 6th or 7th episode, which is damn near the whole first season, I finally got hooked, and I was like, okay, I got it. Now, I don't know where the story goes. People say that this has all the secrets of all the occultism stuff in there. I'm waiting to finish it. I'm on the 2nd season, episode 8 or something like that. And I do know so far they mentioned owls several times, right? So when you talk about Drake with the owl and Justin Bieber with the owl, what does that signify to you? What does that symbolize to you?
I think where I'm at in the research is that it simplifies what an owl can do. Owl can camouflage. And I believe that these Templars, Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, is veiling themselves behind groups, religions, right? And this is how they get away with it, is because they can hide behind big movements or whatever, like an owl can blend in and camouflage. So they camouflage into different groups and religions and all this. That's what I think the owl sort of resembles. But you got the owl Minerva. People think it's Lilith. You got that owl symbolism at Bohemian Grove, Washington, D.C., from an aerial view.
That's right. Yeah, from the from the bird's eye view of the, what is it, Capitol Hill? I think Capitol Hill. Yeah, the owl is fascinating, and that's another thing, man. Because I could tell just by talking to you, you've dug into a lot of the symbolism stuff, and it's really maddening. I mean, I went to grad school for engineering, so I spent 8 years of college studying engineering. And not that I'm a good engineer, but in general, I kind of got the gist of most of the things you got to understand. Well, for more than that, for over 10, I'm going on 13 years now, I've actively been researching all of the symbolism. When I started out with the blog, a very naive young Isaac starting out with the blog, and it's like the most maddening, winding, spiraling rabbit hole. And just when you think you've got your arms wrapped around what's going on, you read something else and you're like, okay, it's not that. And I keep buying books and books and books, and I'm like, I've got to wrap my arms around this at some point. And to me, it just feels like it's the most crazy thing that you'll just never wrap your head around, is what it seems like to me. How's it on your end?
Yeah, absolutely. It is so wild because you learn about secret societies and you're like, oh, okay, secret societies. Okay. Yeah. Illuminati, Da Vinci Code. Okay. Uh, then you start researching it even more and even more and even more. And you see how there's a big connection to all of them and that they play major roles in world events. And this is something we're not taught in school. Like, we're not taught that a secret society kicked off World War I with the assassination of Franz Ferdinand. And there's this, it's all there, and they all are connected. It's like it's so wild. It's so wild. I have so many questions for you. It's crazy.
Yeah, we'll have to do another show, man. But I want to get into some of your content, man. I'm looking at the clock here. I'm trying to boogie this thing along here. I thought maybe we could start with The Office, right? I've heard you before talk about The Office. Is now a good time to add your video to the stream here?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna add your.
So it's just my screen. So The Office, right? Love the show, favorite show, know it by heart. I'm the biggest Dunder Mifflin fan ever. I watch it. The digital friends, right? These become our digital friends. We go into lockdown and we're stuck with our digital friends, or we just come home from work and we hang out with these people, these digital pixels, because we don't want to be alone, because there's this thing called autophobia. So when I wrote this first PDF Illuminati book, it was really right in the beginning of the lockdown. And I was like, yo, people got autophobia, alcoholism, narcissism. They're going to be hanging out with their digital friends, because these are my digital friends. I love The Office, but watching it a million times, I see that there is a weird alchemical secret society connection in it, as you see the checkerboards right there. The Knights Templar checkerboards, because the Knights Templar logo was the black and white and red, and Masons took it. The Masons are just an arm of the Templars. So I know this is a great way to start it with this image, or maybe this image too.
Oh my goodness.
Of Michael Gary Scott throwing up the 666, which I actually think means oak tree. The 666 with the 3 ups in the circle, which is a rabbit hole in its own. But if you look at the Yule log, it sort of looks like that. So you want me to just dive into?
Yeah, dude, this is great, man. I mean, do you have any more on this, on the idea of alchemy on The Office? Are we going to come back to that?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
So here's Dwight, right? He gets asked a question. You turning that money into more money? And he gets real paranoid and he whispers, are you referring to alchemy in this episode?
Okay.
As if he knew about alchemy. And not until this year how I realized how important the alchemist and alchemy is for secret societies and the occult. Now, you did a podcast talking about the book, The Alchemist, and how it's actually connected to Aleister Crowley.
That's right. Yeah. The author, Paulo Coelho, when he was a younger guy living in, I think it was Brazil, he was hanging out with his band, and this band, they were singing about do what thou wilt, because they were big followers of Aleister Crowley at the time.
That is so fascinating. Yeah, I was listening to your Johnny Bravo on that. So we're coming up on Friday the 13th, and that's tomorrow. Miley Cyrus will be releasing her album, and Jason is known for Friday the 13th. And I find it interesting that he has 33 holes in his face mask. So that's just a new find. I think that's interesting. But the Order Templi Orientis, you've done way more deep dive than me, but I didn't know that it meant Templars. So just connecting that, because this will get into it, as Miley Cyrus is doing that whole New Year's ritual. But Scranton, Pennsylvania, where you used to live for a little bit, right?
I live near there, right? And I've been to Scranton many times. I love it very dearly. Have you ever been to Scranton, PA?
It's my dream to go to Scranton.
Oh, dude. Okay. I'm gonna set your expectations, because when you go there, it's almost like nobody celebrates that The Office is derived from there. Um, it's a it's kind of like a little city, so it's really cool, man. I love Scranton. I don't know if I would travel there specifically, but you could see the pen paper brick sort of whatever you call that thing building, and the sign. You know how at the intro to The Office it says Scranton, PA welcomes you or whatever.
Yes.
They used to have it on the freeway there. They took it down because so many people were pulling over to take photos with it. It was dangerous. So they put it inside of I think they call it the Steamtown Mall. I think that's the actual name of the mall there. And when I went there for the first time, I went there with my buddy and I was like, bro, let's go find this Scranton sign. We got to get a photo, right? And we found out it was in the Steamtown Mall or whatever that's called. And you go in there and it was the saddest shit I ever seen, man. Every store was like boarded up. I'm like, oh boy, this is tragic. And then I went down the one sort of side hallway that links to one of the major department stores, and there's the sign just chilling, no celebration about it whatsoever. And the only other reference you could find in the city that I noticed, and like I said, I've been through that city a bunch. There's a restaurant, like a seafood restaurant that they go to on the show. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like Captain something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there's a seafood restaurant they go to on the show. And then at that seafood restaurant in the gift shop, you'll find some Office tchotchkes, but that's about it. And then in the airport, maybe you'll find a shirt, but that's it, man. Like they don't celebrate it. I'm like, bro, this is the coolest thing that came out of here. But yeah, it's Scranton. It's an interesting area. The Poconos are right near there. One of my boys is from Hazleton, which is like a big Italian sort of town. But anyways, they're all sort of, you know, and I love the East Coast. I'm from PA, but there's a lot of sort of depressing things about PA, and I don't know. It's got this sort of hometown feel to me, but I would argue that most people that go there would be like, dude, this is dreary as hell. What am I doing here? You know?
Yeah.
So just to sort of set expectations.
Well, it's part of the Commonwealth as well, Scranton, the electric city for the electricity. Scranton's part of the Commonwealth. Joe Biden.
That's right. Joe Biden's from there, right?
Joe Biden is from there. And like I was talking about, Pluto is known to hold the Bident, and the Bident. It's just interesting connection because Biden, when the Pluto return happened on 222 at 222 on a Tuesday, and Tuesday's Mars, the god of war, he addressed the whole war situation, and Pluto controls the underworld, Hades, right? In a sense. And he controls the world pretty much, Pluto, with Poseidon, which is the trident, and Zeus. And Zeus connecting that to Elon, the sky god, and his Starlink satellites and all that. So I think there is like deep symbology in it. Did you see this? Biden and the Crowley boat was going right behind him.
No, I didn't see that.
So there's a lot of just interesting things. This guy from Scranton, because, you know, tying it into The Office, that there is a weird connection to alchemy with The Office. So the Commonwealth state of Scranton, the Commonwealth is the British Empire, right? It was coined by John Dee, the alchemist, for the British Empire. And they changed it through propaganda to the Commonwealth. And even the logo is some of the sigils on John Dee's symbology of the sun and the moon being put together there. And here's Dwight talking about alchemy. Even Michael Scott was an alchemist back in the day that used to work with Fibonacci. So, I mean, this is a huge thing. And just the idea of Scranton, Pennsylvania, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the Keystone State, which goes into a lot of symbolism, the first Masonic Lodge in Philadelphia, Philadelphia's meaning sibling lover, like this image right here. But you were just reporting on the Idaho killer who was arrested in Scranton.
Right. That's right. Yes. Okay.
Remind me of the Scranton Strangler a little bit.
Oh my God, that's right. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Dwight was the Scranton String. Was that Dwight?
No one really knows
Oh, okay.
who it is. Someone was arrested, but it's still kind of a mystery. But that guy that did the Idaho killings, I pretty was telling people, there's going to be a famous serial killer because they're releasing Dahmer, and Dahmer was played by a guy that was in The Office. He was Michael Scott's nephew. At the exact same time, Dahmer, the #1 trending show on Netflix at the time, there was another show with Michael Scott that was about a serial killer. So you got this uncle and nephew. This is the way they do the magic with the lights on the screen. It's all connected in such a deep rabbit hole. But this Idaho killer, very strange. My mom was telling me that the way he killed these girls, he knew exactly what he was doing. So he stabbed them in a certain way where they couldn't scream, as if he knew the anatomy of the body, which is weird that if that's true. That's what she was telling me. But then you got Mr. 2030 agenda, Recyclops. And even Rainn Wilson, who my favorite is The House of a Thousand Corpses, when he was in that movie for Rob Zombie. But he had the Illuminati eye on his head, just like the 2030 agenda has the Illuminati eye for the climate action. And he changing his name for climate action to Rainfall Wilson or something like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then you could see that he turns into this kill all humans kind of character.
It's like they were showing us because here's my thing, man, with the climate change, for me, the jury's out as to whether or not there's man-made contributions to climate change, and the jury's definitely out as to what the solution is. Much like a lot of that Great Reset stuff, I don't know that I trust the people who are claiming they're going to fix the problem. I don't know that I trust them, and I do think that is ultimately what they want, is some kind of control. And that's interesting that Rainn Wilson's Dwight character here would go through that sort of progression of pro-Earth to kill all humans.
Yes, Recyclops. And I'm so fascinated with symbols, so I just look at everything. Even his belt buckle, I just noticed, is that Star of Ishtar, or Polaris, that 8-pointed star, which is a symbol that pops up quite a bit. So in The Office, their 33rd episode is called The Initiation.
No way.
Yes. And here's some imagery of it where BJ Novak and Dwight do an initiation ritual. And if you look behind Dwight, I'm pretty certain that is a Freemasonic compass. If you look at it, it's the same way it's designed. And then he tells them to get in the coffin, just like a skull and bones or Freemasonic ritual.
That's on this actual episode?
This is episode 33.
No way. Yeah, the initiation, and they're talking about like the Yale skull and bones, how the initiates, they go into the coffin for the death and rebirth ritual. That's fascinating. That's a good find. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, the people who made The Office also made The Simpsons. This is why Homer Simpson from Sector 7G, right? You got the G in the Freemasonic compass, is what put on The Office. He's always hiding in every episode, Homer Simpson.
Wait a minute. Back. So you're telling me that the people who made the Simpsons made The Office, like Matt Groening, or I don't really know who the characters are that were behind.
Yes, the people affiliated with The Simpsons made The Office. And this is why they hint at it, why they always have a Homer Simpson controlling the puppet masters behind the scenes.
I never noticed that. Okay, that's interesting. And you said Homer was in Sector 7G on the TV show Simpsons?
Yes, that's where he worked, in Sector 7G. Matt Groening was a high-level Mason as well. And even Marge Simpson was a bunny, and we're in the year of the bunny right now.
Oh, wow. Okay, you're blowing my mind, man. Go ahead. Yeah, so 7G is like a double play on G, right? Because numerology, G is number 7. And G, of course, and Freemason. Right. I'm trying to slow down a little bit for the people who are new to this, right? So like,
Oh yeah,
because you're dropping knowledge, man. So the G is for the Grand Creator. That's why you see it with the compass and square Freemasonry. Go ahead, man.
well, also, this is quite fascinating too. With the number 7 is G, right? Well, if you go to the end of the alphabet, the 26th letter, if you go from 26 at the end and restart, G would be 33. So like 26.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
that's even interesting there.
Huh.
It goes deep, this rabbit hole. And then, episode, A Simpsons legend just died. He worked on every episode for 33 years. That was in the news. And you just talked about the Simpsons Balenciaga one. So that was a great episode.
Yeah.
But there are connections there. Here's Mindy Kaling. She's pretty much the Mac Daddy, Mac Mama, I guess, of The Office. She was the writer. She's so talented. But here she's throwing up the yoni, the Illuminati hand gesture going downwards. And she released her show, The Sex Lives of College Girls, on November 18th, the 322 day of the year, the day the Illuminati founder died.
Interesting.
And you'll see a lot of celebrities use this date, November 18th. Drake has a song November 18th. Justin Bieber went into the metaverse November 18th. It's just a day that be popping up a lot. So The Office has 9 seasons for the 9 original Knights Templars or the 9 districts of New Haven, which is that tic-tac-toe shape that Dr. Dre had on his hand at the Super Bowl. This is where tic-tac-toe is coming from. Michael Scott's birthday is the Ides of March, where the most famous conspiracy of Julius Caesar being stabbed 23 times happened. Huh. Interesting dates, Oh, and also Disneyland, talking about November 18th, Mickey Mouse, that's his birthday.
No way. That's fascinating. November 18th falls on all these things. I actually never put that. So on my phone, I have a calendar for certain days of the year where it's, supposed Illuminati sacrifice days or some major holidays, equinox, solstice, those kinds of things. Right. And I'll have to add that one in there. I didn't know that November 18th was of significance. That's fascinating.
It gets really weird. I'm learning all this as well. It's wild, as the Illuminati was founded on 5/1. Right? You got Area 51, May 1st, and the Illuminati founder died on November 18th on the 322 day. And in between those days is 201, and there's 201 episodes of The Office as well.
Huh.
And
there's that event 201, right? Remember that? We're talking about that a lot with the. Go ahead.
Event 201, yes. But The Office is full of 201s throughout the whole show. It's wild. I wrote down a list of it somewhere. I got probably at least 20 references to 201 in that show.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So like the numbers are sometimes a little off, like 210, but it still has the 201 in it. It's pretty wild.
And you said that The Office had 9 seasons. I hadn't seen The Office, right? I'm not a sitcom guy. I finally started watching them, and I had been traveling to Scranton a bunch for work. Ironically, at the same time, I was like, I'm going to watch this show. And I watched it from, I think I picked it up in the first season. I don't even remember. And I watched it all the way until, Michael Scott left. And then I made it a couple episodes into the next season. I was like, oh, this is bad. Even with Will Ferrell and all these like big names, it just wasn't good to me. And I was surprised that they had kept it going for another 3 seasons. I think it was. It's almost like they really forced those last couple seasons in there. And I imagine they threw just tons of money at it. So that's interesting if they're really trying to make sure it hits gematria or numerological or astrological value of some kind.
Well, Michael Scott, as you could see right here, was a magician in the 1000s, whatever year this was. So you got Michael Scott, and this guy was no little magician. He worked with Fibonacci. So he was a big deal. They even wrote books, The Magician, about Michael Scott recently.
Oh, okay. That's a Nicholas Flamel is part of that too, huh?
Who's that?
He's a famous alchemist who allegedly found the Philosopher's Stone. He was able to transmute lead to gold, and there's a lot of mysteries behind the guy. And the Harry Potter stories, they go into the idea of Nicholas Flamel, and they say he lived to the age 665, which is obviously a curious number, one short of 666, the number of perfected man, right?
Wow.
So that's another weird connection there. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so, The Alchemist, I wanted to ask you, but you answered it about that connection to Aleister Crowley. But, I mean, even the CIA follows Jim Halpert on their Instagram. They don't follow a lot of people, but they followed the Office character, Jim Halpert. They came out with shows like Space Force, which is, you got to think about, these are very political type shows. And I find it fascinating because they sing the song Aruba, Jamaica, oh, I want to take ya. And they sing that, which is like a Beach Boys song, I believe, which is connected to Charles Manson in a sense. But Aruba is interesting because they also reference Aruba in The Office, because the guy Andy leaves to go to Aruba. And Aruba is the land of the giants. So I think there's this giant connection with like giants and stuff that I'm looking into. And then Dwight talks about a Bavarian fairy tale. The Illuminati's founded, in Bavaria. So that's pretty much just a little wrap up of
this is
The
good.
Office.
Yeah, this is gold. And this is the kind of stuff that you put together in your videos. Sometimes they're 5 minutes, sometimes they're 10 minutes. And man, I love it, dude. You just get in here, you show us the symbolism, boom, boom, boom. Just like
and as
that.
you can see, you're great at speaking. I'm not. I'd be positive. Don't know what I'm. That's why my editing is sick, because I break it down into editing. I got some questions about Pete Davidson because I've got some finds.
Okay.
I know we're coming up on this hour, but this is critical information.
Okay. All right.
And I'm just going to go over what I found, and then please take over whenever. But Pete Davidson, he's banging all these celebrities, maybe going into some sex magic and whatnot. I mean, you got Amber Heard going around with Elon banging all these celebrities. There's all this weird sex magic going on. But Pete Davidson is interesting because there is a Peter Davidson, Dr. Peter Davidson, who founded the Hermetic Brotherhood of Light, which is super connected to the occult. I believe this guy wrote a ton of occult stuff for America. In 1911, he wrote the Chaldean, or he kind of like put it so people could read it in English. Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor he founded, which drew a lot of influence to this Order Templi Orientis, the OTO, which I'm learning about from you, and even that girl that used to be on InfoWars, Weaver, she talked about the OTO a little bit and how it's prominent in Hollywood. So this Peter Davidson guy from the 1800s, I bet you there's a connection to the Peter Davidson today.
Interesting. Yeah, and then you also consider Pete Davidson, his father died in 9/11 during the attacks, right? Then his father, wasn't he in one of the trade Twin Towers or whatever? Which, one of the biggest, most massive rituals, and one of the big things that red pilled a lot of people. A lot of people said, man, I don't believe what I'm being told about this event. And when you start digging into it and from an occult perspective, you find out there's actually a lot there. Now, I obviously don't know what the truth is behind it all, but I do find it interesting that 20 years later, we still can't get a video of the supposed plane that hit the Pentagon, right? But, we could go on all day about 9/11, but obviously a large ritual, psyop event, whatever you want to call it, a lot of channeling of energy. And, some people say it was the what would you call it? Like the ceremony to unleash the new world order, the new plan for humanity.
Absolutely. Big wake up call. And Pete Davidson got the double cross on his neck, the Knights Templar double
That's
cross.
right. And it's funny. I talk with someone who knows Machine Gun Kelly, and this person tells me that that's actually a Machine Gun Kelly symbol, the double cross of the cross of Lorraine or whatever you call it.
The double X, yes, that's
yeah.
Machine Gun Kelly as well. But where is it really coming from? Like we're told that the Blink 182 logo of the bunny, right, is a swastika. If you look at it.
Oh, really?
And they're the ones who are releasing the UFO Pentagon files, which goes into a whole nother topic of deep dive there.
And you can flip that and we're good on time. I'll go as long as you want to go, but so don't have to panic about that at all. But
okay,
the swastika. Do you know that the Navy SEAL compound in Coronado, San Diego, there is in the shape of a swastika? Have you ever seen that?
Wow.
Yeah. It was a whole big to do where it's from a bird's eye view. You can see it's a swastika, and they added some landscaping to try to make it not so obvious, right? But because I'm doing a deep dive on Wizard of Oz right now, and
dude, that's so dope, bro. Because that's what I want to watch.
Man, I'm telling you, man, I started out by me just watching it and saying, okay, let me do a little. I was gonna do a film analysis of Wizard of Oz for Christmas, because that's when now the TV shows it around Christmas time, right? And man, you keep peeling this onion back. I've got like 25 pages of notes, which to me equates to about 3 or 4 hours of show. So I'm going to do like a 3-part thing on it. But the creator, L. Frank Baum, who major theosophist, major occultist, and we'll get into that, but he lived in Coronado, and that was where he got influenced at the Hotel del Coronado was where he got the influence to write Wizard of Oz and the Emerald City. And he said that God or a spirit of some kind put the story of Wizard of Oz into his head, which is, illuminate, confirm all day. But yeah, go ahead. I don't want to hijack.
I heard it's about alchemy, the color scheme of it.
Yeah, there's because I read the book too, right? Like I said, this thing's been consuming me for about a month now. I watched the film, and then I researched, and then I read the original book. In the original book, Dorothy gets silver shoes. They're not ruby. And the yellow brick road is symbolic of the Buddhist golden path of enlightenment. And I mean, it's the biggest rabbit hole I've ever sort of uncovered. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. Like, I'm kind of the point where I just want to pull the plug on research and just be like, okay, that's it. I'm not doing any more because nobody wants to hear 10 hours of Wizard of the Oz. You know what I mean?
Well, if you ever want to record, put, the podcast, let me take it and then I'll edit the imagery into it and put music to it. Cause that'll be dope.
Oh, okay. That's sick. All right. Yeah.
It's something I would really like to know about, but doing the research is kind of a pain in the butt,
Yeah.
So that's about it. There's one other thing that I've been connecting is Aleister Crowley has a AA. It's called AA. And I've been diving deep in that. I'm not 100% confirmed on the research, but A is 1, Genesis 1:1. It goes into that. It goes into a lot of different things. It's pretty fascinating. I'm finding a lot of symbols in it. But there was a secret society that's not really known about called AGLA. And it's gala, like Met Gala, just an anagram, sort of. And I'm just been diving deep into that. But this Met Gala is where Pete Davidson and all of them go to. They got the 3 doors right there, like at Skull and Bones. It's that symbol. I mean, these symbols are everywhere. But yeah, there's something up with all these people.
Oh, that's interesting. Now I don't know if this helps you any, but the AA group, the Argentum Astrum, it means silver star. I don't know if you come across that, and he's referring to SIrius, which is
the dog star.
Mega rabbit hole warning on the binary star SIrius. But yeah,
well, that's what our whole country is based off of.
Oh, really? Tell me more about that.
So the Egyptian hieroglyph of SIrius is a Illuminati pyramid, right? The cap, which we see. It's the 5-pointed star that we see on the flag. It's the phallic, the Washington Monument, the five-pointed star, and a dome, the Capitol dome. And that's what our whole America is based off of, is off of Sirius.
Gotcha.
America's the new Egypt, with Memphis, like Memphis, Egypt.
Yeah, we seem to have picked up a lot of those, the places where the mystery schools thrived, like Rome and Greece and Egypt, are all the symbology you see in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. And right here, I mean, it's just SNL with the 3 doors and the 3 steps, I believe.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Which is where Pete Davidson, got his, I think it's where he got his start, right? His SNL.
Yeah, probably. But I mean,
before he went on his penis reign of terror on all the women.
I think it's some sex magic stuff. And I know that you've uncovered a lot in that area.
Yeah, that's they say that's the heart of all the mysteries, is this sex magic thing. It must be the most powerful kind of magic. I don't know. And a lot of people would argue that Pete Davidson's putting these women under his spell to, pull all these tens.
I want to make a video with my friend one-on-one and Tommy Truthful, and I want to call it One-on-One. Came up with this idea of the Sodomic portals. And I would love to bring you on to that research as well.
Yeah, you guys, like the tunnels of Set, they call it, right?
Is that what they call it?
Yeah, that's what I've heard it referenced to in some of these. You start digging into some of this bizarre stuff, and you're just like, what the hell are these people talking about? And that's I'm somewhere between understanding it and what the hell are they talking about. I don't really get a lot of this stuff. And I listened to your, I think that's why I reached out to you. I listened to your episode with One-on-One, and that was really good.
The homunculus
episode. That's right. Yes. That's a good show too, man. That One-on-One. I feel like you guys are part of this sort of this new wave, man. Like you guys and Bledsoe Said So and Paranoid American and One-on-One and what you're doing, man. I feel like I've talked in the past about there used to be a thing called Death Squad with Joe Rogan and a bunch of his sort of cronies. And I feel like in a way, that's kind of, there's a conspiracy death squad. And I feel like we're all hitting on these subjects, and we need to do something with it. I don't know what, but yeah, I've got a couple more things I wanted to talk to you about. If you got a minute.
As much time. Whoop, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. Okay, so the Addams Family show, you did a video about it. I don't know if you're prepared to talk about it, but I haven't watched it yet. It's on my list. I definitely want to see it. The show Wednesday. Is there some kind of symbolism in there I need to look for?
Absolutely. I mean, Netflix, first off, is the biggest mind-altering chemical out there for the masses. You watch a show, it changes your mental attitude. That's mind control in a sense, right? It's where the propaganda comes from, is these celebrities. And it also gives you a grasp on what society is feeling, I feel like. The number one game is the Squid Games, which is about Illuminati wearing the masks, killing the peasants that are gambling addicts. Number one show. Then Dahmer, a serial killer. Number one show. Dahmer had the satanic thing that he was worshiping. I believe he was part of a satanic cult, just like the Son of Sam. I don't think he was acting alone. Squid Games, Illuminati, secret society. Dahmer, satanic, secret society. Wednesday, Addams Family, is about the Nightshade Secret Society. It's about the secret society. So 3 top shows are about secret societies in a sense. And murder. They start off that show, when you watch it, with her trying to murder. Like, that's the beginning of the show. I won't give anything else away. But then I was very fascinated with, I loved the show. It was amazing. I highly recommend it. I'm not like, oh, don't watch this, it's evil. I uncovered so much about the Illuminati from that show that I never even heard of. I looked up Addams Family, the guy who created it was related to John Adams, the founding fathers, right? And Samuel Adams. And it's based off of a family from Spain. So I looked up like Illuminati in Spain, and what popped up was the Alumbratos, right? And the Alumbratos, I'm pronouncing it wrong, was originated before the Illuminati, and it means Illuminati. It means illuminated, the Alumbratos. And there's even connections with, I mean, it just goes deep, this Wednesday show.
Interesting. Okay. All right. You talked me into it, man. I've been watching Twin Peaks. Sorry, my voice is going out. I had the flu last week, man. Anyway,
and you're getting swole, bro. Like, how do you do it?
No, I'm getting fat right now, man. I CrossFit, and I got a nutrition coach and stuff, and I was in peak shape about 6, 7, 8 months ago, and then I got sick 4 times in the last 3 months. And man, I don't know. It's I went to the doctor finally, and the doctor said it would have killed a normal man. That's what he told me. But no.
Are you serious?
No, he did say. He said, because I was like, dude, something's wrong, man. My immune system is usually like really great, and I never get sick like this. I mean, 4 times in 3 months. That's insane. I had a cold, then I got COVID, then I got a sinus infection, did some antibiotics, and now I got the flu last week. And he just, without turning this into a COVID talk, he told me, he's like, dude, it's because, everyone was pretty much, generally, most people were fairly isolated for a couple of years, and the viruses haven't been circulating like they normally do. So now people all of a sudden in the last year are going out, which I find it hard to believe, but it's true. I guess, like, from a global perspective, a lot of people weren't. And the things, he's like, oh, the thing's mutated. It's now, these little things that normally you wouldn't feel, it's approaching your body like it's a brand new thing. I don't know. That's what he told me. He said, but anyways, he said, hey, man, he's like, if I see people in here with that got sick as much as you did, they'd be a real wreck. I said, you know what, Doc, you're all right in my book. I'm not going to talk about Big Pharma and lump you in with it. You're one of the good guys. But no, but no,
I got sick a bunch too.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah. He said there's several people going through this where it's just like the whole winter, just constantly sick. And that's his reason now, is he thinks that all the viruses mutated too much so that they're too unfamiliar to your immune system.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And I tie it back to payphones, because remember back in the day, we all had quarters, gambling, quarters, money, payphones, video games, Pac-Man. We were so dirty. We're such a dirty culture, and that's all gone now. Yeah. So I feel like that probably lowered our immune system too.
I think you're onto something, and this could arguably be the what do you call it? Population control thing. To take this back to The Office with the Rainn Wilson character there. The population control could be because, what happened in the 90s and 2000s, we switched from people drank out of water fountains, and now people buy bottled water. I remember seeing bottled water in the 90s. There used to be a joke about it. We're like, why would people buy that? It's like paying for air. It was insane. But now look at it. And between that and, like you said, we're going to a cashless society. Plus, we found a way to isolate onto screens and stay at home more. It's arguable that, and then hand sanitizer, right? A lot of people use hand sanitizer, and they say this is all contributing to the superbug. Maybe they're trying to cook up this big fatal mega bug to wipe out most of the planet while they hop on Elon Oak Tree Musk's ship and head to Mars or something, right?
Right. I sort of feel like the whole lockdown, every single government kind of agreed to it. Nobody was at war, but then when it ended, boom, war, back to business. And
yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? How everybody all of a sudden was on board with the same thing.
We're all together. We're in this together all around the world. Then it's over. That's blood. We need some blood, right?
That's fascinating. That is a good point. Okay, now I'm looking at the clock here.
Yeah.
I got a couple more questions for you. Okay, last one about your videos. You had a video about the year 23, right? I want to sort of lay out what the year could mean for people. I'm really into predictions and stuff, and I always get them wrong. Is this an Illuminate confirmed year? What's special about the number 23 in this year?
Well, 2023, right? In whatever numerology, you always take away the zero. So it's 223, like Skull and Bones is 322. It's the reflection of it. Bitcoin numerology equals 223, BTC, even BBC 223. So the 322 is the Skull and Bones year. So my prediction of this year, I didn't really think about what I predict. I think there's going to be a water ritual, like a bridge collapsing type thing. And that doesn't have to be an actual bridge, even though I'm looking out for San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. But it could be a currency collapse as well, because currency is water. So that's a water ritual. So I'm looking out for bridge currencies, the CBDCs, the cashless societies. I'm also looking out for the cyber attacks. The FAA shut down the whole airplane stuff. They haven't done that since 9/11. Ironically, it happened just a couple of days before Davos is taking place. Davos is coming up in like 3 days. And this is where they're going to talk about cyber attacks in the World Economic Forum. And I believe the whole lockdown was a petri dish of the world of what to do when they unleash the cyber P word. I don't want to say the P word. The cyber events to happen worldwide. And what they're going to do is they're going to shut down the internet completely and reset it. And I think that event is being studied, and that's what the whole lockdown was the study for that event.
You think that's related to, I don't know where you stand on the Q thing, but Q kept talking about these 14 days of darkness where they shut down all channels of communication. You think there's some kind of relation there to that? Like this is some desire they have to shut down? Okay.
The Q thing goes deep into some occult stuff, right? Q comes from the letter Koopa, like a Koopa Troopa from Mario. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, is Q. So you got the order of the Q. The feathered serpent is underground. That's why the Masons go into a cave to get the hidden knowledge, the occult knowledge. This number 17, you can see it on the emoji. You write emoji, 17 will pop up. This is a very occult symbol and situation going on here. And it's connected with CERN.
Oh man, I got to get you back on, man. There's too much to break down here. Yeah, the Q thing is fascinating to me too, man. The you know, I don't remember all the details. I did a few shows on it in 2020, and it ties into SIrius and all kinds of stuff.
Wow, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I gotta interview you, bro. I got so many questions.
Oh yeah. We definitely got to link back up. Okay. One last thing. Let's talk about. Okay, so I know you've got a Patreon, right? What's the Patreon website? Let's hear the. What's the channel called?
You just look up Doenut. You can look that up on Patreon. I got exclusive content, or just the YouTube, or anywhere, you know. And I spell it DOE, like money, like dough, DOENUT, Doenut.
All right, cool. And then for the Patreon people, they get you've got a book that you've written, the Illuminati book. What's that all about?
So the Illuminati book I released in the heart of the lockdown. This was like in March. Like this was March, April. All the stuff that I knew, I just wrote it down into a PDF. So it really captures the moment of the time of when the world started changing and my thoughts on what would happen. And in that, I'm like, yo, war is going to happen. BRICS nation's going to happen. CBDCs, all the stuff that did happen pretty much was in that storyline. So I'm working on something more updated.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's
the world.
That you know, because you were into conspiracy stuff prior to 2020, and I think most of us that were when 2020 happened, there was a weird surge of conflicting emotions. Like for me particularly, where you know, you could ask my wife, she she's scared of a lot of these topics that we look into. And when 2020 happened, my poor wife, man, I put her through so much anxiety because I'm like constantly like, oh my God, this is the thing going on and blah, 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 you know, because there was all this stuff that didn't make sense, that wasn't adding up. But when you look at it from the perspective, a lot of the, you know, red pill OGs like Bill Cooper, they were talking about this kind of stuff happening for a long time. Alex Jones too, right? Alex Jones did too. So yeah, a lot of weird stuff happened with 2020, and it was almost like revelation of the method kind of stuff. And it feels like we haven't really pulled out of it. It feels like they sort of fractured society, and way more of us than I think they anticipated glommed onto these ideas of the alternative media, conspiracy thinking, that kind of thing. When you say something about maybe they restructure the internet, I would think that that's a way for them to shut down any last sort of hope for this, you know, conspiracy alternative movement or something like that. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, cool, man. I want to thank you for your time. We went over because you have a lot of great information here, and I really want the audience to check out your videos on the YouTube. You've got 2 YouTube channels, right? Because, you know, like anyone who's followed me knows, it's this whack-a-mole game. So follow both of them. You guys got to subscribe. The one that you're almost at 100,000 subs at Doenut Factory, DOENUT Factory, and I'll put the link in the show notes, and then I'll put a link to your backup as well. Any other last things you want to talk about?
Dude, I love your information. I love your research, your books, all that. Honored just to be in your presence right now.
Oh, stop it. Yeah, you're great, man. You make these great videos, dude. This is dope. I think you're doing a good service for people, because this is how you start getting people talking about it, right? Because most of the people out in the world that don't follow this stuff, they're not going to listen to a 1-hour show. Everything's going way over their head. They're just like, dude, what are you guys talking about? Where some of your videos, you know, they're as short as 5 minutes, and it just shows some kind of symbols, some entertaining stuff, and boom, they're like, well, that is weird. What the heck are you guys talking about? And so I think you're doing a good service for our whole community. So thank you for that. And thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
Well, there you go. Fascinating guy. I look forward to getting him back on the show here in the future. We plan on doing some collaborations together, of course. But you got to follow Doenut everywhere. DOENUT, Doenut. And I'll put the links in the show notes for his YouTube, his Instagram, his Facebook, his website. Go support my man on Patreon. I already signed up. You know what's up with the Patreon. That's how we got to support our people talking about this content, because this guy spends hours and hours making these videos just to get YouTube to say that he's promoting hate speech, which he's not. I mean, the same struggle I went through. So go check him out. Support the guy on all the places you can find him. Again, in the show notes, or you go to IlluminatiWatcher.com. Thanks for listening to the show, folks. Till next time, stay woke.